about? Say you don't know the Cleveland beat. What you talking about? Say you don't know the Cleveland beat. You must be crazy. You must be crazy.
Okay, today we are here with Dreadlock Dave, and we're going to talk all about what's happening in his life these days. So, hi Dave, how are you?
Good, Deanna. How are you? Thanks
Really
so much for having me on.
great to see you. First of all, I want you to talk about, because you've been in the music business for 30 years. You've seen pretty much it all. You've traveled the country, 200, events a year, and but let's go back to the beginning. How did you start and your influences? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I was raised in a musical family. Both my mom and dad were musical. My father's actually been singing barbershop since he was 14 years old. So I heard harmony all the time, and he continues to this day. He'll be just turned 77, and he's still directing a barbershop chorus in Sedona, Arizona. So both my parents were very supportive of anything I wanted to do musically. 5th grade, I started with the saxophone, and then I worked my way up through brass, through the marching band in high school, became the president of the marching band at Olmsted Falls High School on the west side of Cleveland. And so that's basically where it started. Also, actually, before that, it was piano lessons at 5, the typical piano lessons. So I was well versed in tons of different styles of music and instruments, but before I graduated high school.
Oh, you're lucky. That's wonderful. I know, it's obvious where you got your nickname Dreadlock Dave, but how did that start?
I don't know why.
You just got, yeah. So you've been Dreadlock Dave pretty much for the last 30 years?
Pretty much for the last 30 years, yeah.
All right, well, that's good. Yeah, that's because kind of when it came into vogue. I also wanted to talk about after performing throughout the country, and of course, all the musicians have been affected by COVID. How did you manage to take a negative and turn it into a positive with your live streaming shows every Tuesday night?
Well, really, that's what it was. It was, like you mentioned, I mean, I have been playing for the last 30 years, upwards of 200 or 300 shows a year. So it was a really, and teaching private lessons and rock school and doing, all kinds of things. I had many irons and many fires to make a living as a musician here in Northeast Ohio over the last 30 years. But so yeah, when COVID hit, I was actually in Las Vegas, which was completely surreal because I drove down the strip on the way to get the plane back to Cleveland, and I saw 2 people on the strip. It was like an apocalyptic movie or something. But anyway, the shock of, everything going on in society at that point, I didn't know what I was going to do. So it was about a week later, I said, you know what, I've done, a couple live things before. I do the Facebook Live out remotely just for a song or just to say hello. But I said, you know what, I'm just going to start doing this and, play for myself, but also if anybody wants to join in and listen. My whole thing has kind of been, positive vibes. So I pick tunes, old hippy dippy tunes that I like to play, plus my own music. And I'm, just try to spread that positive vibe and love vibrations.
Yeah.
And, so I figured it would be a vehicle to do that. And, as soon as I started doing it, I mean, I literally had hundreds of people tuning in each week. We've had as many as 14,000 to see an episode, and but it's amazing, and the compliments and everything has just been wonderful, and that interaction, you're watching the text box while you're doing the Facebook Live. So I'm not catching all the comments as I'm performing, but it really, in between the songs, I can react to the comments and scroll back and forth. And it was just a way to connect with people, and
Yeah.
which is what I've always tried to do.
And that's amazing that you were able to be able to gravitate towards that right away, because that's a skill. That's a whole new skill, doing it on live, through the streaming. And I love how you describe your music as folkadelic funk pop. I love that. So that pretty much covers a lot of territory.
It absolutely does. I draw from many, many influences, as I mentioned, my formative years. And then since then, I've studied jazz, and I love funk, and, the Beatles and the Sly and the Family Stone are two of my favorite groups. So it's kind of this big mix of everything. And, yeah, so it was a new skill, and I had to get the equipment and learn how to do certain things, but I'm pretty technically I can handle myself in the studio, so it's a lot of the same stuff. And it wasn't too difficult. I had a dear friend, Taylor Netzler, help me put my the OBS together and get that rolling, so I could have my integrated mixing board and have like a quality sound. I didn't want to just do a cell phone thing, but I wanted to present a quality show as much as I could.
Sure.
And then we had a few gigs last summer, and I actually caught COVID last July. So it was a mild case for me, fortunately, and made it through. But we did one gig with the band. One of my bands, it's a cover band here in Cleveland called Live Bait. And we did a show outside in the Portage Lakes. We all caught COVID that day.
Oh,
So
wow.
the drummer and myself live, a few miles apart, Mark Tellerico, my dear friend. And our symptoms were basically exactly the same. So we bonded over that. We were in the band together for 10 years, of course, but we bonded over this COVID experience. And he started emailing me drum tracks. So I would add a drum track of his into the show each week. So he was a guest just via satellite, if you will. And once we recovered from COVID, I brought him in. So we started doing outdoor live streams. We did about a half dozen of those this summer. And then we started doing them in the studio when the weather got, typical Cleveland weather. But yeah, it was amazing that we were able to put this together. And so now we have a duo that we're playing together every Tuesday, and it's just been fantastic. So I've just been thankful for the love and the support. There's the virtual tip jar out there I post on the screen, and people have been so generous, and I'm just so thankful for the way it kind of turned out. As weird as this last year has been,
Yeah.
I've managed to survive. And
well, we all need music in our lives, so you've been a real gift to many.
well, thank you.
And it's obvious, all right, so right now you're spreading your groovy vibes and positivity through virtual channels. So tell us more about your Tuesday nights, and then what's coming up on your Facebook page.
Yeah, well, you can always go to dreadlockdave.com. That's where I have the links to everything I'm doing. Just like to mention, I'm also writing, just completed co-writing a musical. So
Really?
yeah, it's called Annie Man the Musical, and we're currently casting. We had planned to debut last summer, but of course everything got shut down. So, but that's another project I'm working on. But I'm really proud to say that I've this week will be 52 consecutive weeks, Tuesdays live stream. Even through COVID, I was able to manage up enough energy and do that. So it's just a proud accomplishment that I've done 52 of these in a row with a large majority of them with my partner, Mark Tellerico, on the drums. And so for what I'm calling season 2, which will be week 53, we're having a special presentation. We're going to do some extra stuff, some fun stuff. My friend and your friend, David Sullivan of Terrapin Media, is going to be co-producing the show. and it's going to be a multi-camera shoot, and some other interesting things going on. So we're going to have a blast, and that's on the 23rd of March. So that'll be, after this airs.
Yes, so that's going to be another Tuesday, but it's March 23rd. Perfect.
Exactly.
And what time?
That's at 7:00, and it's on the Dreadlock Dave Facebook page. You go to the live section, and you could see, I'll put some promo out on the Dreadlock Dave page, but you can join me there, and would love to see you.
Yeah, and one more thing. So do you record in the basement? Because that room is very cool. I love the 45s on the ceilings, and it's really got a good vibe.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, this is dubbed Cool and Groovy Studios. So, but yeah, the 45s on the ceiling are actually 45s that were my father's, and mine, a collection that have always been on the ceiling, regardless of where my studio has been. Decoration, but I have a lot of just personal odd items and books and records, and one of my favorite books, right?
Thank you.
So I've had this, I think I've got this when it came out, so I'll have to autograph it at some point.
Absolutely. The 19 years already.
I saw your post the other day. That's fantastic. Congratulations. Yeah.
You know what, life does go fast when you love what you do.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I'm blessed, and just feel so fortunate, and I love Cleveland and the people of Cleveland, and it's just a fantastic thing. And I love what you guys are doing as well with this interview series.
We love having you on the Cleveland Beat, and thank you so much. And I have it on my calendar, Tuesday, March 23rd, 7 p.m. Dreadlockdave.com.
Yeah, dreadlockdave.com. That's right. Facebook Live.
Okay, great. We'll be there, and I hope all your 14,000 fans will be there as well.
Yeah, me too.
Right.
Anybody's welcome.
Thank you, David.
Hey,
see
thanks.
you. We'll see.
All right. Take care, Deanna.
Yeah,
Peace.
peace.
Yes, this is the Cleveland Beat, live and direct, in full effect. Hey, what you talking about? Say you don't know the Cleveland Beat. What you talking about? Say you don't know the Cleveland Beat. You must be crazy.